Hi friends, welcome to my channel. In the today's video we will discuss about agricultural value chains. This is the first lecture on agriculture value chain. Okay, this topic is related to food production जो syllabus है आपका उससे, and in this topic basically we started with the technical definition of the food value chain. Now in the definition you can see in the sequence of the related business, okay, there is the sequence of a related business activity that functions from the provision of some specific input from for a particular product to primary production, transformation, marketing, and all the way up to the point of sale of the particular products to the consumers. This is a technical definition of the आपका जो भी सप्लाई एग्रीकल्चर वैल्यू जो चेन है, ठीक है, उसका. Now let's we break this up into the sequence, hence the name value chain. Okay, within the chain there are different links, so all the links are equally important. As you know, these links are what relate different types of activity to the like dairy these links are what relate different types of activity to the each other. Let's think about dairy farming. Okay, हम as example we take dairy farming. Now if we are thinking about dairy farming, so specific input to the like dairy farmers would include the feed, and would include the cows, would include insurance for the cow, and also they would include some health services for cow and so on. That's like, so those are the provision of some specific inputs which then goes to the dairy farmer who is the primary producer. Okay, now the primary production जो है as we have mentioned here, so alright, what happened, the primary जो producer है then work to produce the actual milk, and this milk जो है then undergoes several stages of the transformation like that. Like milk segregation and aggregation of the milk and segregation of into the different like level of fat contain and so on, जो भी चीज़ें then goes on to the pasteurization, homogenization, probably then further processing into the milk powder, into the ice creams, and creams, into the different grades of the milk, into the pouches and some cartons जो भी एसेट्रास. तो दिस इज़ अ एग्ज़ाम्पल जो कि इस डेफिनेशन को समझने के लिए हमने फार्म डेयरी का एक एग्ज़ाम्पल लिया है. नाउ देन व्हाट हैपन, देन यू ब्रांड द प्रोडक्ट. Okay, so hence the marketing and distribution process, finally it is the point of final sale when it is one on the Amul store or on the Amul store or like a big bazaar. Okay, big bazaar जो store रहता है उसमें, so where somebody pick up the milk and start using it, this entire sequence of activity then is the value chain. It is clear. Now in the constant of the business, here is the picture which explain the value chain in more technical manner. If you will, you can see the picture, and as you can see here you have inbound logistics. If you are looking a factory gate, you have operations at this factory itself. The outbound logistic, how the product or service leave the gate of the factory. Now moving on the into the marketing, sale and distribution, and finally any other services that can be added. Okay, you can see. Now the supporting services here would be procurement of good products and goods and services. It could be technology development and would be like human resources management, as well as the provision of some infrastructure. This all are the various supporting activities. So you have the functions and then you have the support services also. So each process though है, they add value, and the idea of the value chain is therefore to figure out how to have each process add like values. Let's try and now look at an agricultural value chain which is similar. Okay, so here you have have agricultural input followed like by the agricultural practices, and then you have harvesting procedure. You can see in the picture Okay, now you then have a series of different procurement process. We will go into much more detail about this later, but you have several procurement process. Then the produce is taken for marketing. Sometime it is processed, sometime it is not processed. Okay, and finally there is a retail services. And ठीक है, हम एग्जाम्पल भी देख लेंगे इसको. अगेन व्हाट हैपन, अगेन एवरी स्टेज ऑफ दिस, हु आर द एक्टर्स इन्वॉल्व, व्हाट आर द इंटरलिंकेज, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ द बिजनेस relationships are there. So all these issues become very important in understanding an agricultural value chain. So this is the further explained here. If you can see in the diagram, rice value chain. Okay, you can see in picture rice value chain यहाँ पर mention किया गया है. तो what happen, all of us the familiar with how rice is produced. सभी के घर खेती होती है राइस की, एज ठीक है, तो सभी जानते हैं. So you have the seed, fertilizers and other some pesticide supplies and so on, that at the level of the inputs. Now the activities involved here, as you can see, they could be seed collection, seed supply, and like that seed fertilizer supply and so on. So this actor involved are the suppliers of the this equipments. So the farmer, the miller, who specify their requirements at this stage itself, and then we come to the actual production of the rice grain. So which is where the major role is played like that by the farmer, and they are the primary actors. So there is जो farmers हैं, they are the primary actors. So you also have the several supporting actors like the KVK scientists, for example, and there would be supporting actors at this stage. Now production would involve growing the crop, followed by the harvesting, and after that जो भी processing है, drying, threshing and so on जो भी. So those जो भी हैं, they all are the activities जो involve in the production stages. The collection stage of value chain, they would be involved, for example, the village collectors and the millers, and as the two separate actors, and the corresponding activities, there would be paddy collection, paddy selling, as well as the trading of the rice. Now depending on the kind of contract like जो भी उनके बीच हुआ है, that are in a place. So the grain then has to be processed. So this is the next link in the value chain. So what we call the functional value functional value chain happen to be processing. So where the miller then process these products, and which include drying of it. So this is the as you see in the picture, ठीक है, like milling, grading जो भी है, ये process it into different categories and finally selling it to the wholesalers, retailers and large जो भी millers हैं, who are the next set of actors in the next function of the value chain, which is wholesaling and retailing like rice. Finally, of course, you can have consumption taking place. So you can see all of this is fairly logical. For any activities, we can always trace the activity from the input all the way to the output, right? So I have shown that you for rice over here. So having discussed the rice value chain, let's now look at the generic agricultural value chain. You can see generic. Now you can see generic जो value chain है उसको. So here you can see we are starting with the input of land, labor, water, technology, basic inputs, and they flow into the processing and post harvest handlings processes. So here the inputs are knowledge that all the actor have. What I am calling organizational जो भी knowledges हैं वो. These products are then processed and finally they are marketed. So now you can see, look at the red arrow. The red arrow show the movement from the actor, from the functions of the market like processing, production and all the way of to inputs. So the different payments that are made for the value, it is also look at the finance. As you can see, we have finance is listed here. So there is also knowledge which is transferred upwards. So for example, the customer जो हैं they could be tell you what exactly they want in the products, what they are valuing, which could lead to the changes in the processing, so which could lead to the changes in the production process also. Or you might actually change some input, like for example you might move to organic farming because this is the demand of consumer, so because that what the consumer wants. Okay, so before I conclude, I thought it was important for us to discuss why exactly does all this matter. Okay, so well, at the end of our intention is to improve the livelihood of people around us. So very specifically, because our focus is agricultural value chains, we are going to looking at improving the livelihood of the farmer, and more specifically the marginal farmer, or the just like जो भी poor farmer है. So now there is 4 way to doing this. One, you can increase the volume of production for the farmer. Okay, तो वही कर सकते हैं हम, वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं. ठीक, एंड नाउ यू कैन इंक्रीज द अमाउंट ऑफ प्राइस that he would get for his products also. By the focusing of the different aspects of the value chain, you would be able to do exactly that, and like simultaneously you could drive down the cost of production, or the reduce the kind of risk and each of the actors in the value chain. So this is exposed to also. So more specifically what happened, the more जो that the vulnerable actors हैं, who are the like poorest to the poor. So when we move on that, so let's we remember that when we are talking about the agricultural value chain, we are not going to be the value neutral. Okay, what I mean, by this I am not going to treat every actor exactly the same. Like agricultural value chain development, agricultural value chain inventors, they are designed such that it helps the poorest of the poor, like established herself, get a voice in the system, and they get ahead so that she can move out from the poverty. So therefore we are not going to be value neutral. Our entire जो discussion है, they are going to be a pro poor. Like all right, so I thought I should share that with you. So we are going to now move on the next few जो भी topics हैं इससे related with the next video. So hopefully all of you जो भी will join us for the next next in जो भी ये topic है उसमें. So I said a story of value chain on the potato farmer in Jharkhand in a next video, that is example for you when you write your exam. So thank you for this video. So thank you friends.